Again, good morning and rise and shine. We welcome you back on this Friday morning. We hope that you got a lot of good information out of that interview with Carl Klein, the hospital administrator at Carilion Franklin Memorial Hospital. Again, that show was from a Wednesday, but we thought there was lots of valuable information for you to draw from as we continue into this week. And also this morning, we've got a lot of more great information, this one coming from the town of Rocky Mount. We have two very familiar faces with us this morning. And again, we ask, as we did on Wednesday, that you excuse some of our camera shots. They may look a little different as we are social distancing ourselves to the best of our ability here in the studio. But if you gentlemen would introduce yourself to our viewers this morning.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Steve Angle, the mayor of Rocky Mount.
And I'm Matt Hankins. I'm the assistant town manager for the town of Rocky Mount.
Absolutely. And we just wanted to get together this morning and talk with you guys about the different things that the town of Rocky Mount has done already and things that folks can be looking for here in the near future as we continue to face ever-changing times day to day with the coronavirus.
Right.
Steve, I'll kind of kick it off with you.
Okay.
What are some of the things that the town has already put into place over the last couple of weeks?
Well, first of all, Kevin, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here. Want to let our citizens know what we have done and what we are doing. I guess what we have done that most people or some people may have seen, we have closed the front part lobby area of the municipal building, and people that have business can still conduct the business, but they need to do it by telephone or via the drive-through window that we have in Rocky Mount, and that still allows them to interact and do what they need to.
One of the things that we have found, you try to find humor in some situations, as difficult as some of these are. There are a lot of people that didn't know we had a drive-through window.
Right.
Yes.
So now they know, and
right.
it actually winds up for most folks being more convenient, particularly if you're just doing,
That's right.
one quick payment. It's easier to be in line in your car than it is to be standing in line behind somebody else.
Absolutely.
And we just want to let people know that our essential services, water, wastewater, trash pickup, police, fire, we have instituted a program with them so that those services will not be interrupted. Everything will go on just as they have been, and so citizens should not see any disruption of those items. So also,
it's actually fairly likely that you're going to see more police officers
Right.
Patrolling town because with the schools being out, our school resource officers have been reassigned to patrol duties, and in order to make sure that shifts do get covered in case somebody does get sick. We've even moved some of our investigation staff to the road so that there's more patrolling going on because we have staff to be able to do it for the time being. And they are taking every precaution that they can because we especially the police, the fire, police, fire, water, and wastewater, those are pretty essential services right now. And our volunteer fire chief and assistant chief have done a great job in laying out ground rules for the fire department as they respond, what they should and shouldn't do, making sure that the guys aren't just hanging out at the fire station the way that they like to do. And that's difficult for a lot of our guys because they like being around each other, they like being ready, they like responding as quickly as possible. It may mean a slightly slower response for some of our fire incidents, but it means that we will have healthy people responding.
we've also suspended penalties for late payment for water bills, things of that nature, because we understand, this has created some financial burdens for people. Also, we've suspended any water cutoffs. I think you read in the paper that AEP has also suspended any cutoffs during this time as well. Let's see, we're waiving meals tax payments, late payment penalties as well. And I guess most people are aware of, we've delayed the opening of the farmers market and completely shut down operations at the harvester, and been able to reschedule the majority of those shows to a later date. Matt can go into more detail on that as well. So,
well, as far as the meals tax goes, council will still have to put its stamp on that at the April meeting and make it official. We're still waiting on some guidance from the governor's office and the attorney general on how meetings can be delayed, whether they still have to be held, how we hold them. We may wind up having to come to Cable 12 or finding another partner that can help us to at least stream those meetings online or in some form that we still have public participation and the opportunity for the public to see what's going on. Certainly as this crisis is lingering and going on, we've got to make some adjustments in how we operate. And certainly one of the most difficult is a council meeting, because it is a public meeting. It's one where you expect the public to be able to come in. If we have those, can we limit the participation in terms of the number of people and how close they're sitting, and it's so many layers of complexity that goes into this that it's going to be a challenge for us to proceed through, particularly because it's budget season, and we have at least 2 and maybe 3 budget meetings scheduled for April,
and we have to have a public hearing
in
to
May.
Present the budget and take any public input from that before we can vote on an acceptance of a budget.
And the Planning Commission has a couple of public hearings. They've got a land use public hearing, and then the public hearing on the capital improvement plan as part of the budget. So, we've got all these things that we've got to make sure that we are compliant with law, but we're also cognizant that we are in the midst of a public health crisis. So, we've got plenty of things that we've got to check on and worry about. We are concerned about when does the harvester open back up. We just are continuing to roll shows and reschedule, and some of those have even gone out into 2021 to be able to reschedule those. But again, our primary concern is the public right now, making sure that everybody stays safe, and then how quickly can we get back to normal, whatever that new normal is, and recover and work with the economy to make sure that we don't see lingering effects. From a pessimistic point of view, I think you need to realize it's probably going to be a couple of years before we actually recover from the slowdown in economic activity. If a business owner is closed for a month, if you just averaged it out through a year, you're looking at them losing about 8.5% of their revenue. For some businesses, March is more important than others. Say if you're in home improvement or that sort of thing, March is a big month, so it may actually wind up being more than 8.5%. Well, it's not easy to make that back up in a short period of time. So, we do have some concern for how quickly the economy recovers, but that's not just a local question, it's a state question and a national question.
Another question that I've gotten, and I'm sure the offices have as well, is what about the election in May?
Yes.
Well, we are still waiting on guidance from the governor's office on how that will be conducted. I know people have seen a lot of things in the news. Well, we're going to do it by mail. It's all going to be absentee ballot. Maybe it'll be moved to another date. All that is speculation right now because we have absolutely no idea. And as soon as we get that guidance from the governor's office, we will certainly publicize that.
And we do have a contested election this time. We have 4 candidates running for 3 seats, right, including 2 incumbents. It's something that we'd like to see resolved fairly quickly, but the governor's office and the governor's office hasn't addressed it, and part of it is probably because it's a constitutional question. Those elections are set, right, in code, and that's when they're called upon to happen. Because we are in a public health crisis, what power do they have to be able to move those elections?
Absolutely. And we're talking about, well, we can't do this, we can't do that, et cetera. But we would like to make an announcement this morning of something we think will have a positive impact on the community. And Matt, I'll let you explain that.
Folks who are water customers of the town of Rocky Mount, both inside and outside of the town limits, will be getting an extra flyer in their water bill. So don't just throw that water bill on the table and don't think about it again until it's time to pay it. We're going to do a program called 3 to Go, and if you remember, we did one about 10 or 11 years ago called 5 on Us, which was to help small businesses recover from the Great Recession that we went through, back during 2007 to 2010. The 3 to Go program is going to be 2 coupons on that flyer. You can't use them in the same transaction, but it's a $3 coupon for use at participating in-town restaurants, and the town is going to pick up those $3. So you'll take your coupon to that restaurant, you'll call them, you'll order your takeout, as we're all getting used to doing now, and they will take that coupon, they'll take it off your order, they'll submit it to us for reimbursement. So we've got some controls on there for security and make sure that there's no fraud involved. So folks can be aware that they can use those and use them safely, and restaurant operators will appreciate the extra business. And they've been hit particularly hard right now, not just the restaurant owners, but the staffs. Particularly those folks who have seen a reduction in their hours, or have just been told that we don't have work for you right now, or that the restaurant's going to close down for a while. We do have several restaurants that have done that, because they slowed down so much, and we want to do what we can to help them recover as quickly as we can. Those coupons are going to be good through April 30th, so you've got about a month to use them, and then we'll evaluate on a going forward basis if it's something that we need to continue doing and put out more down the road.
Absolutely. And kind of you hit on it very clearly, Steve. We always talk about the things we can't do, the things that we're hindered from doing that you have to do differently. But there's also some things we can do as citizens, not only of the town of Rocky Mount, but here in Franklin County, to benefit those businesses.
Right.
And one of those is takeout, curbside service whenever possible. What are some other things? I know the town of Rocky Mount has done a wonderful job putting out different tips and ways that folks can participate and keep these businesses going, even if it's at a reduced staff.
Well,
what are some things?
The big
that folks can
thing
do?
is, we encourage people to shop locally where you can, and to how do you say this? Buy modestly instead of stocking up so much on things. Think about your fellow citizens. Leave some stock on the shelf for the next person that comes in, and of course, stay at home as much as you can. We realize that not everybody can stay at home all the time, but just make sure you practice the social distancing, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, everything you can to help with the coronavirus.
Something else that folks can do, there are a lot of small businesses around here who do gift cards or gift certificates, and if you're thinking about a purchase from one of those, now's a great time to be able to do that. A lot of folks, you can call in with credit card information, pay with credit card, and they'll send you your gift certificate in one way or the other. So that's one way that if you're planning on something anyway, go ahead and help that small business out now, and then as we get 2 or 3 months down the road, go ahead and make your purchase then. It just makes sense to try to keep that money locally and support those local jobs.
Absolutely. And kind of hitting with the Harvester Performance Center, you guys talked about it on the newest episode of Hanging at the Harvester this week. The best source of information is the Harvester website, but they can still call the box office during its normal hours.
We are still operating normally because we are still selling tickets for shows down the road. We're anticipating that we're probably going to be able to be back into operation sometime in May or early June, and so we'll be announcing some shows for June. And it's sort of hard to do that. But we have a lot of artists and agents that their livelihood depends on it, and we depend on it. The local economy depends on the Harvester helping to drive more economic activity, bring people in to eat, to stay, to shop while they're here, and so we want to make sure that as quickly as we're able to get back to normal, that we're ready to do that. And one of the ways that we do that is we continue selling tickets going forward.
And of course, we'll keep honoring the orders from the governor's office about crowds, et cetera, and whenever that opening date is, then we'll be back in operation. We'll just have to wait and see.
And we've talked about it, feels like every day for the past 2 weeks, but it is an ever-changing situation. Orders come down from the governor almost daily for different things. What's the best way for folks to stay in touch with the town for new information or changes to even maybe what we're saying this morning?
The fastest way is to go to our Facebook page. We've got a couple. There's a Facebook group called Town of Rocky Mount, and there's also a Facebook page under the Town of Rocky Mount. Make sure you're choosing the Virginia option. There are folks in North Carolina who make that mistake fairly often, picking the wrong one. But that lets us communicate directly to you. It gets out information as quickly as we can get it out. We've got staff that make sure that as we make announcements and we put things out, that it goes on to our social media so that you are current. You know what's going on. If there's an emergency or something that you need to know of very quickly, that's the easiest way. But you can also go to our website, which is rockymountva.org. We post updates there as they become available as well. If you've got an emergency, continue to call, your normal emergency numbers as you always have, whether it's for, a water issue, sewer issue, policing issue, just, continue to function normally, and as quickly as we can, we'll get, folks out to you to deal with any emergencies that do come up.
And of course, as always, you can call the town offices, talk to the staff, and of course, myself and any town council members are happy to take your call and answer your questions. If we don't have an answer for you, we'll find one.
Absolutely. Was there anything else that you guys would like to talk about?
We are still working, so things like public works activities will go on, and Monday and Tuesday of next week at the intersection of Floyd and Franklin, there's going to be a small reconstruction project there. There's a dip in the road that appears to be an issue with a drainage pipe, so our public works department is going to do some digging there, and they hope to be able to do all of that on Monday. It's likely that it will take into Tuesday to do. It won't be a complete closure. There'll be some traffic management there, but just pay attention to our social media and to road signs directing you around that. So, work still goes on.
Yes,
indeed. And again, we just encourage people to stay safe. Stay inside when you can. Follow those sanitation ideas, and protocols have been put in place, and life goes on, a bit not exactly as it has in the past, but this will pass in due time. Just be patient, and things will be back to normal.
Absolutely. There may be some things like, as people are using our parks, everybody's got kids at home, who has kids with schools being closed. So they're trying to find some recreational activities, and so as you use parks, make sure that you're following the social distancing. It's probably wise to bring along some sanitizing wipes or something to make sure that you're because they are playground surfaces and recreational surfaces. You want to be able to stop the spread of germs that way. Normal common sense things to make sure that you keep yourself and your family safe, but still enjoy the facilities that the town has to offer.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming out bright and early on this Friday morning to pass along this information. And again, if you would, as we get ready to close, give us the phone number there for the town office in case people may have questions that they would like to contact you guys with.
There's a couple of phone numbers you can call if it's a billing question or a water service issue. You can call finance at 540-483-5243, or you can call the town manager's office at 540-483-7660.